previous video, we showed you how to create a transaction in Transaction Desk. We showed you how to title it and enter it appropriately, whether it was land or residential. We showed you how to import it from the MLS into this transaction, and we showed you how to get to the forms and how to put them in the basket, send them to be signed, or send them to the Authentisign to add your signatures. So I'm going to kind of double up on the last end of that. So I've already created my transaction, okay? And now I'm to the point where I've already edited my purchase and sales, so all the information is there that I need as far as what my clients are offering. And now I need to get these over to the Authentisign program. So I'm going to select again. To select them, I click this little circle over here that says select, deselect. And then notice the basket comes up, like we said before, similar to adding something to your cart. So I'm going to do the ones that I need out of here. Okay, and remember, if we did need a lead-based paint, most likely you would get that off the MLS by the documents or ask the list agent for that, because you would need that signed by the seller as well. And if I had a VA or an FHA loan with my clients, I would also need to do that. So once I have all the stuff in the basket, I click on the basket. This pops up, and there's two things here that I would use. Now, the send it to Authentisign is what we're going to do with this. If I wanted to save these as a PDF, I could hit save as a PDF. It would save all four of these documents in one file. Okay. But for this example, put it in the basket, hit the basket. Let's just go back out here, basket. Sometimes it takes a little second, so just be aware of that. And then I'm going to send to new Authentisign. All right. Now, once they get here, if you remember before, I had to download the confirmation of agency in the property condition disclosure from the MLS. So first thing I'm going to do is go to Documents, Add Documents, Upload or Import. Click here to access my files, and this was 688. There's my confirmation of agency. Hit Open. It's going to add that document in here, and then I'm going to repeat that. And get my property condition disclosure. All right, so this should be all the documents that I need to submit an offer, minus a lead-based paint if I needed one, or FHA VA addendum if I needed one. So now that they're here, here's my documents on this side when I'm on this tab. So let's talk about these tabs. Documents is obviously what it is, and it props up this little screen that shows you those documents. Now, if for some reason you click these out of order and your purchase and sales is way down here, you don't want that, because when you submit that offer, you're going to have the affiliated business as first, the disclosure is second, and they got to scroll through all that to get to your actual offer that you're submitting, your purchase and sales agreement. If they are out of order, these little dots to the left, this little multi-directional arrow pops up. You can click it and hold it and then drag it to whatever order you want it to be, or you can come here and simply change the number. Hit enter, and those switch places. So, and it moves it replaces it with whatever number you did. So for instance, if I move down more than one, let's say I did 6, then this becomes down here, and my wire, and this moves up a space. So it doesn't replace it, it moves it up a space is what it does. So, but simple enough, drag and drop it where you need it to be. Okay, so now that I have them in order, I need to add my signees. So I come up to this one that says signers, add participant, and I'm going to go ahead and add new just to show you. So I'm just going to put a fake name in here. So Jack Brigham. And then I'll put in, we'll just say TC at Team Castelli as the email. All right. Now, once I do that, what I want to do to help you for the future, because you may have to submit more than one offer on more than one property for your clients if one doesn't get accepted or whatever the case may be. When you enter them in the first time as new, if you click this box that says save to my contacts list, it's going to save you a lot of time. So I'll show you what that does. So I'll hit save on his name. And when I do that, it's going to ask me to assign him. He's my buyer number one. Come down here to assign signature blocks. Okay. Once I have that in place, if I go back to add participants, if I did from contacts now, and I search his name, Jack Brigham, right there he is, and there's the email associated with him. That way you don't have to keep going back and finding that. You can simply go to your contacts, enter his name, and select that he needs to be in this transaction. All right, so we'll hit cancel. So I'm only, well, I need to do, let me put another contact in there, and we'll just do, if I can spell right, Elijah Castelli. I'm gonna put him with the admin email, and we'll hit select, and he's there. Now notice it didn't give me a option to say him who it needs to be. So I can set his role right here as buyer. All right, so once I have my participants in place, I come down here to where it says tools. I want to click on that. And now I need to add their signatures where they need to be. So let's go to the top of the document. Now, obviously, if you were doing this in a real life situation, you would be filling this stuff out, or it would be filled out. All right, so notice when I set them as a buyer, it automatically puts their signing blocks anywhere that it says buyer on these documents. So that's a nice little feature. But notice I don't have a date or a time sticker with this. So what I'm going to do is click on his name right here. And when I click on it, it highlights it. And this screen over here changes. So if you'll notice the difference here versus when I click on it to here. So now that I have that, down here I have timestamp, timestamp and date stamp. All I got to do is activate those. It populates them here, and I can just drag them to where they need to be. And then I would do the same for this signature as well. So signature goes there. If you're making the offer, that's on the signature. Now notice there are two little initial lines here. We do have a wire fraud document in this, so if you miss these, it's not a overly big deal. But you can simply come to this side and click the initials. Now, notice that I now need to add Elijah's initials, but if I hit initials again, it's going to pop up the same one that it did the first time. To delete it, I click on it, hit the trash can, that goes away. So I need to switch to Elijah. So I click this drop down, I select him, notice this turns to blue, I hit my initials button, and now here's his initials. They go in that. So basically, I just scroll through this document and I add signatures wherever they need to be. Again, to switch, I click the drop down, go back to his name, click the sign here button. That goes here. And I move all this stuff appropriately. Now, this space right here, CrowdLike, that's asking for your name, the agent's name. You can add yourself as a participant, um, but you need to do it. Only do that if you need to sign a particular spot on the contracts. So, for instance, like right here would be your sales associate signature. So you would need to add yourself, the agent, as a signee, and your signature would go on that block, and you would do it the same here. They would just be these two names and your name. And if you get through it and you notice, oh, I should have added myself, I didn't. If you click on the name right here, you can do add new signer, or you can come back up to this tab and do it the same as you did the other two. Okay? All right, so some nifty little tools that are in this. When I'm on his name, I've got different options. I got the sign here button, which adds the signature block. I have the initials, which we've seen. I have a text line that pops up, so I can do that, and then here's my, where I type in what needs to go there. Change the character limits, whatever you need to do. Anyway, probably not going to use that very often. All right, text line checkboxes. So a checkbox looks like this. You would do this if, let's say, you got a counter sent back to you from your offer and you need to mark it as accepted or rejected or whatever the case may be. You would hit the checkbox, drag that X over whichever box it needs to be on. Okay. Now, notice the colors. Everything for Jack is in this orange color. So that means if I were to send this out right now, Jack is the only one that has to click that. So ideally, what you would want to do in this situation, if you do have to add a checkbox, you would add one for each person, and you would just drag that and drop it on top of that one. If for some reason you can't remember if you put two already, just kind of move it and see if the other color is underneath it. Okay. When I do that and I send it out, then Jack and Elijah both have to click that box before to let them complete their signing. So they have to actually, that's like a signature block. They have to actually click on it to mark that as accepted. Initial pages, I've never used that one. Initial choice, I've never used that one. I always just use the initials up here. Radio choice, don't really use that, and we don't really have much use for a drop down. So really, the sign here, the initials, and the checkbox buttons are the three that you're going to use probably 99.9% of the time. Now, underneath that, we do have a signer's field. If I click full name, then it just prints his name. So if there's a place where it asks for the printed name, so for example, on this affiliated business, it says to blank, print customer's name. So here, I would do full name, and sometimes it pops it up in the middle of these words. So you really got to kind of look for it. And I would drag that to where it goes, change it to Jack, full name, still in the middle, do that. So now the printed names of both of my clients are on that document. Okay. Initial blocks. All right. So another neat little thing it has over here next to full name, we have email address. So I'm on Jack. I had him assigned to the TC email, and notice when I do that, it populates his email address. So is there somewhere I need to put that on these documents? I can do that without having to do like a text box. And that's really the only two here that I use. If for some reason you needed a text box for, I think there's one of these, yeah, like sometimes you get to see the COA. So for the COA, I can do full name here because it's printed. Change it to Elijah, do the same here. Do a checkbox on the designated agent. Licensee name, that would be your name. Now you would have you added in here. I didn't do that on this one, but you would have yourself as an agent in here. You would do the same. You would switch it to you, hit full name, and drag it into there. You put your signature lines, and we'll cover how to fill these out in another video. This is just getting used to adding the signatures. So I do a text box, enter there, and then I could put my firm, my selling company of Kralak. Okay, you just drag it where it needs to go once you type that in. Now notice when you do that, in order to edit this text box, you have to actually double click inside the text box to where the cursor pops up. Now, that's really all we use. If for some reason something was filled out wrong, that can be changed or doesn't need to be there, whatever the case may be. If you do have that, you can hit that little line button and take a red line and kind of make a little X or whatever you want to do through it. Completely up to you what you need to do with that. And you click back on it to get it off here so you're not making lines through everything. So I want to delete these. All right. Once I have all my signatures and everything in place where they need to go, and again, we'll discuss where they need to go and how to fill these out in another video. This is simply how to use this program. So once I have everything added where it needs to go, I would hit next. Once I do that, it's going to process. It's going to bring up this page. Here I can set an expiration. Be mindful of that. If I set this to expire at midnight tonight, my clients can't sign it till the morning time, they're not going to be able to. I typically don't fool with this really at all. Excuse me. It kind of just stays wherever it preloads to. So once I have that, I can set a reminder. So I can say every one day at 9 a.m., they're going to get an email reminder saying, hey, I sent this to you to be signed. I still don't have that yet. Your signature has been requested. So they'll get an email every day at 9 o'clock until they sign it, if you do that. I haven't messed with the customized invites. Maybe I'll cover that in another video. That's the basics. Now, once I have that set, when I hit this send button, it's going to send this out to their emails. At that point, I would send them a text or give them a phone call or both, but definitely one of the two, and say, hey, I just got that sent out. It should be in your email for your signature. If you don't see it in the next couple of minutes, let me know. That way I can get it back over to you. Simple as that. So I'm not going to hit send on this one because I'm not actually going to send these out. But once you hit send, it sends it. It takes you back to your home page. Now notice this is showing as a draft. This means I haven't sent it yet. So be mindful of that. If for some reason you failed to hit the send button, you got a phone call, whatever the case may be, if this is showing as a draft, it has not been sent out to your clients yet. When you do send it, it's going to say sent. And then once they complete it, it's going to say complete. Simple as that. You can also click on this signing. Oh, well, that's right. I haven't sent it yet, so it's not going to show me that. Let me show you one in another signing here. All right, so this is the one. This is the draft. We'll go ahead and delete that because don't need it right now. All right, so notice on this one here it says complete, so that means my clients have signed this and we've gotten it to wherever it needs to go. If I scroll over the show participants, it shows me the two names, and notice there's a check mark beside their name. That means that they have completed what they need to do. So if one of the names didn't have a check mark, I know which one has not signed it yet, so I can kind of help them try to figure out what's going on with that. Now, once you send it out and you click on it, it's going to pop up this. So once you send it out, you can't edit it. In order to edit it, you have to cancel it and kind of set it back up and then resend it. So with this, things I want to cover with this at the bottom, when I click this down here, and it's got its own little scroll box, so it's kind of hard to see, and you can't really move this up. I could zoom out. Let me do that. All right, so down here at the bottom, it shows my participants, the Connors, their remote signer. This button right here where it says authenticated, man, tell you what. Anyway, underneath this, it shows this little shield button. That means that they have opened it in their email. If this check mark is not there, then they haven't signed it yet. So if you have this symbol, but not a check mark, that means they've opened it, but they haven't signed it yet. So if you notice that and it's been, an hour or so, maybe longer, then you might could reach out and say, hey, I seen that you opened the signature email. Are you having trouble with that? Can I help you? Just kind of let you know when they've opened it, but they haven't completed it yet. Once they do complete it, you can come up to view signed PDF, and any documents they needed to sign, for instance, that other one was like 30 something pages, all those pages would be here when you open that up. And then you can download that signed copy and email it over to whoever it needs to go to. So that is the basics of using the Authentisign program and adding signatures, sending them out for being signed. Again, we'll cover how to fill those out, what goes where, and exactly where to put those signatures in another video. But for now, that's the basics of how to use that program and get your documents to your clients to be signed. Again, my name is Casey Cope. I work as the operations manager for Team Castelli. If you have any questions, you can come find me or any of us that work in the office, Lucas or Jess. We would be able to help you out with those. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you.